What's up, babes? Welcome to Self-Love Sunday weekly live stream. If you're new, my name is Sarah Delane, the Conscious Lifestylist. Let's jam out for a minute while we wait for everybody to join. Taking it a little old school. Hi, babes. Hi, Angie. Hi, Jen. Who is cherishing today? We're gonna do cards. Hi, love. Hi, Juliana. Am I tired? No, I'm actually very, very, very well rested. I had an amazing weekend with my girlfriends, and we had a blast, and we got massages. It was like self-love weekend. So I am pretty great right now. So let's start. How are you all? Oh, thank you, Juliana. I cherish you too, baby. All right, we're gonna do cards. First, I do want to give a huge shout out to one of my girls, Soul Circle Tribe member, Sarah Monaco, who gave me this amazing new fun bracelet with crystals on it. Thank you, baby. Wow, I love it. I love it. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Claire. Hi, Pilar. Hi, Daddy. How are you guys all doing? How was your weekend, wherever you are in the world? A little loud, a little obnoxious. Are we down for cards today? What are we feeling? Oh, thank you, Sarah. You're welcome. So thank you for all that I do. I love and appreciate all of you guys. And if you guys are getting guidance from this and support for your lives, that makes my soul and my heart happy. Soul's mission, babes. We gotta do it. Feels good when we follow it, right? We just gotta follow that call. My journey started, I think, when I was, I can say, probably about 25. Near-death experience. That was fun. So let me tell you. And that opened up a whole new journey of self-discovery and transformation and all of that fun stuff. So how are you guys all doing? How are our relationships? How's our personal journey? Yep, great energy. And we're on the upswing and we're about to hit a new moon now. Super, super stoked for that. Are we down to do, oops. Oh, thank you guys for thinking that I'm an inspiration. That is part of my job. And of course, to help you through all of your past patterns and programs and all of your relationship stuff, specifically your self-love and the big fat how do you self-love? Tangible tools and practical techniques on to actually do the how of all that. We got a jumper, love it. We are doing cards today. Did you guys like doing the week in cards for personal and the week in cards for business? Do we want to do that again today? Okay, I feel like Madonna, we've cherished you enough, honey. Thank you for everything else that you've done in the world. Amazing 80s music. Learning to let go and flow. Good, 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 good. Oh, we got 2 on that one. Okay, 1 and 2. Yes, yes, yes. Is the yes, back it up. Did we like cards for personal and for business? Give some type self-love if you're watching for your personal and your relationships. Type biz if you're watching for your business. Same as last week. And new beginnings. Yep. So right before the new moon. I mean, obviously it's I think it's like a week still, right? Like, so we're coming. We still got a little bit, right? Business, yes. Personal, self-love, hearts. Okay, dope. Self-love, both. Awesome. Love that. Self-love, love it. Okay, business, awesome. Okay, so everybody's on board with both. So, okay. And thank you for another 2. If you guys have just joined on, for personal, we are doing, still my favorite, Sacred Rebels deck. Okay, so this we're going to use for personal. That could be your self-love and obviously romantic relationships, which, as many of you guys have heard me say many times, your romantic relationships start with you anyways, right? So no matter what's going on in any relationship, right? Granted, we have relationships with everything. And whether it's a business relationship or a romantic partnership or whatever, all of the above start with you anyways. So for the personal, we're doing Sacred Rebels. That's, you set the tone. Everything outside of you is the echo. Cool. Yep. And we got both. And if you guys watch my my posts throughout the week, I actually am starting to, like, if you either go back and watch this whole video for the whole week, but each post is going to have kind of the energy of the week as well. Does that make sense? I mean, it makes sense. And we've got self-love and we've got both. Okay, cool. So for that, we will do personal, Sacred Rebels, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I kind of want one in the middle. And Sunday. Did I do Sunday last week? I don't remember. I don't remember. Okay. So we have those. So this all starts tomorrow. And some of you guys wrote me messages saying how the energy from last week with the cards for personal and business was still very synchronistic for you guys all week long. So I love, love, love hearing that. Hi from Phoenix, Arizona. We've been up to Sedona recently. I need to take a trip back to Sedona. Oh, okay. The business cards are for the entrepreneurial spirit, or I like to call it the spiritual entrepreneur or the conscious entrepreneur. These are called Spanda. I know it's backwards. Adria Adler and Sheila Lewis. Bridging ancient wisdom with business. Totally badass. We've loved them so far, I think. I've been having lots of fun with these. Okay, thank you. Yes, Sunday. Okay, dope. And if you guys are just tuning on, and if you're new, this is Self-Love Sunday. We do cards. Shuffle them right. And Tuesday is Soul Circle, where we dive deep into self-discovery, transformation, relationships, all that fun stuff. Personal development. And yes, we do questions and stuff that is on Tuesday. So if I can answer some of the questions, I will. How is it best to deal with loving but judgmental parents, struggling not to offend them as I try to hone in on my authentic self? Really great question, and really well written too. I like that. And I love that you're saying your authentic self too, right? Because no matter who our guides are, meaning like our parents, our mentors in life, whatever, it's still like your soul, like you're still on your own journey, right? And so it's your, on your journey of self-discovery and discovering your most authentic self is to find what that is for you, and not what I call sometimes the false identity, which is some of the programs or the belief systems that we take on from the people that we are raised by, right? There's nothing wrong with it. There's no judgment. But if you reach some point where you're like, it's not really working for me anymore, right? You have every right to change that and shift out of that. Hi, Go Lightly Healing. And so how to deal with judgmental parents is have that, like, be really open and honest. I'm a believer no matter what relationship, right? I think everyone here can agree as well. Like, your relationships are also about communication. So if you're not communicating like who you want to be for fear of, okay, so sometimes it can be fear of disappointing them, right? But if it was your journey and not their journey, then would it really be a disappointment? right? So kind of tapping in. And does this resonate with everybody? I think everyone's kind of maybe experienced this on one level or another with either parents or friends or whatever, right? So I'm going to okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll do 7. So what is really the underneath, like whatever you're making it mean, and what's the deep feeling underneath that, right? Like usually there's a fear. And if you're afraid that you'll disappoint them, or you're afraid of their judgment, right? But this goes across, like this transcends whether it's our parents or society, because that's a big fear, right? Like many of us sometimes feel like, oh, well, if I come out as my authentic self, if I really speak my truth, then I won't be accepted, right? And I won't belong somewhere. And as humans, we have a strong sense of belonging, right? We love tribe. We love coming together, right? And can that tribe sometimes hinder us from our growth, right? Like cliques, like getting in very like cliquey with your friends. Everybody knows that experience, right? And men have this too. Sometimes it's mostly like with women, the whole clique thing, right? But men have cliques, so it just might be a different term for it, right? And so we're wanting to be seen and be liked by our peers. And yet if that, for whatever reason, is making you feel like you have to stunt like your authentic version, your voice, or your shine and your radiance, then they're not the right circle. I'm not saying they're not your right parents. Hear my heart on that. But to be open and communicate like, hey, this is my journey and I'm really in this process of discovery. And I get that you guys might have different beliefs, but right now I'm wanting to really explore this belief. And it'd be really great if you supported me. And if not, I totally get that because you have a different belief, right? So dealing with judgment is also recognizing that we all have different beliefs. Everybody has different beliefs. You all have your own truth, right? Some want to stay with things that they've been raised, certain beliefs that they've been raised with, and there's nothing wrong with that if that still works for them. And then some eventually hit a point where it's like, oh, I don't know if I believe that anymore. I want to shift that. And it's like, okay, that's okay too, right? But still honoring. You still have to honor and respect that every single person, I don't care whether it's your parents, your friends, whatever, you're vegan or not, right? Like whatever your religion, whatever your political standpoint is, it still comes down to honoring the fact that every single person has their own beliefs. And if you're then going to point the finger and say, your belief is wrong and my belief is right, then you're outside. One, you're in a triangle of disempowerment, and you're outside of the process of your own reaching higher levels of enlightenment, right? Yes, cool. So all of that to say, have an open communication about it and say, hey, this is something I want to experience because I'm my own soul. That may not make sense for you, but this is what feels really good for my heart right now. Follow your heart over your head every single time, and it will always lead you on the path of reaching those higher states of enlightenment, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, right? Speak your voice. Find your voice. Your voice is there. Your voice is totally there. So you could say find your voice. I love you, Juliana. And it's always going, like, your voice is there. You already are the version of you that you know that you want to be. Let's say it that way, right? There's just a gap between your actions and behavior and belief system that is keeping you separate from that version of you, right? Yes. So I'm a believer that it's like nothing needs to be found. Like it's already there. Do you need to speak it? Yes. Do you need to remove whatever blocks are hindering you from speaking it? Yes. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we're doing cards. And I feel like just so that everybody is kind of going with the days of the week together, I'm going to do Monday for personal, and then Monday for business, and then Tuesday for personal, and then Tuesday for business, right? That way we can all kind of be like this is what we're experiencing together. Awesome. And then let me check in. I love you guys' hearts. You're all such badasses. And huge acknowledgement and welcome if you're new, and just acknowledgement that like we're all in this together. Nobody's exempt, not one single person. So we're all supporting each other. I love seeing you guys show up here, whether it's for cards on Sundays or whether it's for like a deep dive relationship and personal development stuff on Tuesdays. Any new awareness, right? All of the awareness and the support that we're in this conclude. This is a tribe, but this is also a tribe of non-judgment. This is a tribe of equal support of one another, right? And of love, most importantly, right? So that's love for self, that's love for each other, that's honor and respect for each other, and coming from that space of a beingness of those words, not just like the definition. I feel like sometimes we get lost in just saying these, you know, fancy words of enlightenment and consciousness, and we forget to be the word, right? Like it's not just enough to say the word, it's a beingness, right? You just thought that, and then I said doing the business and the personal. Well, you're just right on time with like the consciousness that we're all a part of. Awesome. Love being, yes. So it's who we're being and who we're becoming. We're always in a state of becoming, but it's what we're in a state of becoming and who we're being in the process of becoming. Yeah, that wasn't confusing. Oh. Okay, I am doing tea today. I'm on a coffee detox. I'm doing a whole other, like, we have to honor body. Honor the body. My body's like, hello, can we detox, please? Yes. So spring cleansing, spring cleaning, all of the above. Do you guys want me to make a video on my detox regimen? Let me know, and I will do that straight up. All the holistic, fun ways of doing that. If you guys are in the energy of like detoxing and how to do that in a really healthy, smooth, natural way that's not too invasive. Okay. Oh, this is perfect. So on the personal, yes, please. Okay. You guys are inspired to do detoxing. All right, cool. Maybe I'll make a video about that later today and post it on YouTube. Okay. This is perfect. Okay. Exactly similar to what I was saying. So this is on the personal for Monday, kind of like today-ish into Monday, right? Okay, cool. Listening for truth. Listening for the truth. This, I feel like, goes exactly with what I was just saying. It's listening for your truth. It's listening to your heart. It's listening to her, right? Many of you who have been with me for a minute, you know that her is my new acronym for heart, energy, which is spirit, and then reason, which is mind. You have to have all three of those integrated together to really have alignment with your highest intuition, right? Or just intuition in general, right? So listen for truth. It's your truth. It's your truth. It's what your soul wants to experience on this journey, not what anybody else wants you to experience, not what anybody else is telling you what they think you should experience. And the more that we follow our own truth and listen for our own truth within, right? This goes a little bit, there was some of this coming through like on the tail end of last week. So can't remember if I put it in yesterday's post or the day before that, but it goes like speaking your own truth, listening to your own truth. What was I going to say about that? I just lost my train of thought. Okay, then that didn't need to be said. Go read yesterday's post. But listening for your own truth. Okay, that's interesting. Hang on, give me a second. I've been getting a lot of really weird, bizarre, like energy, like waves and stuff like that. So I just need to like clear that off. So listening for your own truth, coming within, going within, put a blindfold in, stop looking outside for that validation and that certainty. Yes, we're human. We're always, always, always wanting certainty. But the more that we go and ask, like more so, it's a difference between like asking for help, because I believe in asking for help 100%. But the more if you're saying to yourself like, oh, I don't know, right? I don't know what to do. I don't know what I should do, right? Either go and get like someone who can help you that's a professional to support you with that help, or tap in and then like listen within first, rather than going outside and asking someone else, what should I do? Because the minute that you do that, you tell your subconscious that you don't trust yourself. So you need to listen for what is your own truth, right? Hi, Ksenia, baby. So listening for your own truth in order to then speak your own truth. How are you going to speak your own truth, your authentic version of yourself, if you can't even listen for it, if you can't even hear it, right? I don't know about that. What if there's snakes all the time? What if there's is snakes all the time? Do you mean like people? Yes, giving all of your power away. Exactly, right? So there's asking for help, which is giving you power. And then there's asking for almost like validation, which is giving your power away, right? So listen for your own inner truth. Put a blindfold on. Put a beautiful, like lacy blindfold over your eyes. Maybe for the men, maybe it's like a little leather piece, right? And listen for what your own truth is. So that's for Monday. I think that's pretty clear because we kind of started with that energy as well, right? So whether it's family, relationships, telling you what you should or shouldn't do, or judging you or whatever, it's your truth. You're your own soul having your own experience down here. Anybody else who's going to tell you what they think that they should do, they're not your soul. Right? Okay. So, so that is for Monday on the personal. Monday for business. We're doing good on time. Generosity for generations. It's really interesting, the fact that we opened up with like talking about parents and all that stuff. Acts of generosity can catapult you beyond limited self-interest and self-satisfaction. They influence present and future generations. Interesting. Okay, so acts of generosity can catapult you beyond limited self-interest and self-satisfaction. They influence present and future generations. So tying that in with kind of listening to your truth, but I just keep hearing the word cycle breaker. Like, shout out to all my cycle breakers on here. If you're in this tribe, you are definitely a cycle breaker, which means breaking those past belief patterns from family, from friendships, from whatever that is. If you feel like something is not going right, you're the one that's being called to break that cycle. And it's going to look totally different than what everybody else is doing. But if you can do that with like outside of expectation, if you can do that outside of kind of condition, right? And you can sort of tap in, working on yourself, shifting your own old patterns and programs and mindset and belief system, and breaking your own cycle within, and then being that, right? The beingness of what you're becoming or while you're becoming. That gives not only your present generation, like everyone that's around you right now, sort of a like, oh, like, well, what are they doing? They seem so happy. Or they're like you end up reaching this like a different vibration, and then people start taking notice. And then that shifts the future generations, right? Are you guys, is there somebody new? Welcome if you're new. Okay, so acts of generosity through that. And it's more like being gratitude and take care of yourself first, right? Give to yourself first, but then like, how are you showing up in business to give? How are you showing up in being like generous? What are you offering that's like an additional support beyond whatever that thing is that you do for money, right? If that makes sense, right? Perfect example. We've got Soul Circle Tuesdays and we've got Self-Love Sundays. And it's my hope and like pure highest intention that you guys get value for this, right? So how are you showing up in business to be generous and give whatever that is that's beyond whatever your programs are, beyond whatever your one-on-one sessions are, right? If that makes sense. Like, what is that going to look like? What's your give back to community and society? And how is that influencing for a new conscious level on a higher level, right? Is that resonating for everybody with business? I think there were a few on business. Okay. So generosity for generations. Let's like expand the, not expand. Let's shift this cultural dynamic on how you're showing up to influence the world in whatever capacity, so that then the future generations will also be able to benefit and sort of pass that on, right? Like new conscious influence coming from authenticity, pure authenticity, which means you got to find your truth for that. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, on the personal for Tuesday. So how perfect is this, that this will exactly align with our Tuesday Soul Circle, all about relationships and conscious connections. Conscious connections. So this one came up once before. It's still, this has been coming up. This is like, I think either the second, maybe third time that this has been coming up in the last couple of weeks, right? Conscious connections, two aspects, right? And some of you have probably heard me say this before, but it keeps wanting to be repeated. So the more that we repeat it, the more that we integrate it. Conscious connection in two ways. The first one, and I love that it's two versions of her. It's like the mirrored reflection, right? So this is the first conscious connection is you and your relationship to yourself, right? You and your relationship within. Many of you had heard me talk about you and your relationship between your masculine and feminine, right? How your inner masculine is treating your inner feminine, how your inner feminine is treating your inner masculine. That sets the tone. That is the sort of the first energy that then everything outside of you that shows up in your relationships is a direct projection or reflection, rather, of what's happening within. So a lot of you, if you're attracting people who are not so committed, where are you not so committed with yourself? Where is your inner masculine maybe like running the show, trying to control, trying to do 1,000 different things, and it's not really paying attention to your inner voice, your inner her, your inner feminine? So this conscious connection, and when we mean conscious, it's like setting that intention, being like declaring it, shifting something with full intention, right? Conscious connection. It's also then your conscious connections, yes, with the relationships outside of you. So yes, it's a reflection of what's happening within. Whatever's happening outside of you is a reflection of what's happening within. And whatever is happening with your romantic relationships, business relationships, how are you creating that conscious connection? How are you setting new value systems to both align with and really feel good about, to create that sort of magnetic pull back together, right? How are you honoring? How are you acknowledging? How are you having conscious communication around that? How are you reflecting whatever is coming up with you emotionally? And just talk about being authentic, like showing up and saying, hey, I'm feeling this, or I'm experiencing this. Can we have a sort of conscious communication around it? Right? Is that resonating for everybody on the relationship side? And this is for Tuesday. So setting those intentions, the other thing that I want to say about this is setting those intentions for what next level of a relationship that you want to have. Whether you are single or whether you are in a committed relationship, there's always another level. When you have that inner alliance between your masculine and feminine, you become whole and complete. You're doing that work, right? Clearing out your past stuff, not projecting and expecting your partner to unpack your emotional baggage. That goes for both sides, right? Like doing your own work, showing up whole and complete, then you guys become the two parts multiplied. You become like twice the sum of your parts versus like, oh, you complete me. There's no complete. You come complete. And then you align with another complete. So what next level can you be taking your relationships, single or the one that you're manifesting and calling in, right? You still have to find a word for that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So that is for Tuesday on the personal and the relationship side. And of course, right, perfect point. Relationship starts with you and then everything outside of you. I love that there's two little koi fish in there as well. I love the artwork. Can you guys see that? I know it's backwards and on YouTube. Okay, so conscious connections for Tuesday in the personal, your relationship to you, and your relationship outside of you. Tuesday for business, the genius paradox. Okay, this is going to be interesting. These brilliant innovators make their own laws. Beware of their flaws. They're here to change the world. Interesting. These brilliant innovators make their own laws. Beware of their flaws. They're here to change the world. I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. Okay. This to me speaks to, yes, a little bit of the cycle breakers, but then who you're becoming beyond, like once you broke your own cycle, once you kind of align with like your authentic version of you, then this is now like where your voice comes in. And if you're in business and wanting to be what I call a conscious influencer, not just influencing for the sake of like, you know, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with influencing around products and doing all of that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. What I consider a conscious influencer is someone that stands for something and has or wants to create a movement around it, right? In order to be an innovator, to shift our cultural consciousness and be sort of that thought leader, right? To me, a conscious influencer is a thought leader. So if that's feeling like that's you, right? This is perfect. You want to pivot into something new. Okay, perfect, right? So, and do you mean that on the business side, right? So that might be part of your soul and your spirit being like, hey, yes, I've been doing all this stuff, but like, what's bigger? What's the next level? How are you innovating? How are you being that that thought leader? What are you copying and pasting like old information and then offering it, which can be really wonderful, but like, where are you again tapping into yourself and then what is like tapping into yourself and your own voice and then wanting to share that from that authentic place for you, right? To really then innovate. I love how it says they make their own laws. So it's not about new laws, because it's kind of like, it's like all the laws that we have or the rules or the whatever, it's like, who made up that shit, right? This isn't about having new laws when it says make new laws. It's following in alignment with what is most true to you. 100% what you stand for, what you want to be a voice for, what you want to innovate, what you want to impact, what you want to influence on a conscious level for the benefit of changing the world, right? Which is why then it says they're here to change the world. Beware of their flaws, for sure, right? Everybody's got flaws. Nobody's perfect. But that's also what makes each individual authentic. And I feel like the more that we share just from an authentic place of like, hey, like we don't all have it figured out, but we're shifting and always raising a new level of awareness and consciousness to bring in that voice to then help everyone else get to that next level, right? Everybody has flaws. Every single person. There is no perfect, even though I like to say that we're all perfect. We just have those perceived walls and barriers from our old programming that is keeping us from our level of perfection, right? Like, so there is a perfect and yet there's not a perfect. Like you're already perfect. And yet the more that we have this conversation of striving for a perfection, that's just self-judgment, right? You're already there. Time baby. I miss you in Norway. And you're making it live. Okay, you learned what at business school? Love that. What did they teach you at business school? Okay, so that again is the genius paradox. The other aspect of the genius paradox, each person, you all have your own level of genius. That's what makes you badass. That's what makes you unique. That's what makes, no matter what you're going to offer the world to influence them, different in whatever capacity that is, because it's your genius. There's there's a little bit of crazy and a little bit of genius, right? You have to be able to think outside the box. You have to be able to work outside the box. You have to then be able to take action around the box. It's not going to look like the old model that everybody is used to, because nothing would change if nothing changes, right? You guys have all heard that. So it's what level do you want to then be that cycle breaker to then turn into and help shift cultural consciousness from being that conscious influencer that has a movement, that stands for something, that wants to bring something new to the world or create something, right? Whatever that, because that's a little bit vague, because everybody, it could be different. You are your own genius, whatever that is for you. So brilliant innovators make their own laws outside the box. Outside the box. Beware of the flaws. They're here to change the world. Cool. So that's Tuesday. Okay. Resonating? Okay. Okay. So Wednesday for the personal. We've been on time. Awesome. This is good. Bring it into form. This is on your personal and your relationships, or your relationship with yourself and romantic relationships. What are you, from your conscious connection on Tuesday, on Wednesday, what are you then bringing into form? Whatever you aligned with, whatever you're creating from that conscious connection, how are you bringing into form? This is action-based. This is, everything is a concept. It's an idea. Everything is, you know, in a space of, in your meditation bubbles, until you actually, like, it stays in that container until you can actually bring it into form. I love that they're like, it looks like they're running too. But they're running, so it's taking steps, tangible steps, actionable steps, like put it on the calendar. Is whatever that is for you in that conscious connection, is that you want to do more stuff together. If this is inside a romantic relationship, you want to do more stuff together. You want to really put into the calendar, like whatever you've been missing in that relationship. Do you need to make time to have quality time or a conscious communication about something, right? Like put it on the calendar and actually do it. Don't just talk about it. Don't just think about it. Don't just meditate on it. Actually do it. Bring it into tangible form. What else do I want to say on that? Bringing it into form is, it's grounding everything that, like, that is the level of creation, to turn something that's a concept into actual form. You smell the cards? That's interesting. Do they smell good? So taking those tangible steps to do it. If it's with yourself and your personal self-love relationship, what do you need to put into place? Do you need to, be getting more tools on the how to self-love even more deeply? Do you need to be, investing in yourself in one way or capacity? Like, put it on the calendar, do it, right? Until we actually, like, I have a rule. Also, because I have so many different things going on, if I don't put something on the calendar, it won't get done. It absolutely will not get done. So put it, whatever that is, on the calendar, in whatever form that looks like, romantic or self relationships. Do you need to take time for yourself? Like, do you need to plan some time to go away and spend time by yourself and read a book or whatever, right? But don't make it feel like a chore. Why would it be a chore? Why would self-love or quality time be a chore, right? If we're constantly learning more about ourselves, right? And this is why self-investment is so important as well, because you're learning, you're uncovering. I say there's not one petal to a rose, right? You're constantly unraveling or lifting these petals to the deeper and deeper depths of your own core. And the more that you do that process of self-discovery, And the more that then you, for yourself, and then if you're in a partnership, that then they're doing that more for themselves, then there is always a new petal to discover about yourself. There's always a new petal for them to discover about you. There's always a new petal for you to discover about them. So is it a chore or is it an adventure? Is it a discovery process? Do you want to learn about them? Do you want to constantly be like so lit up by your partnership, or so lit up by like who you are in the world and who you're being for yourself? Do you love yourself enough to say, you know what, like everything's good whether I'm in a partnership or not? Like I'm constantly in a place of discovery. Or do you want to stay stagnant in that, right? That's where boredom takes place. But if we're in a venture of curiosity and appreciation and adventure again, like it's either a game of adventure or it's a chore. But if there's always something new, if you're not excited about getting to know the person when you're first meeting them, you're never going to be excited to get to know a new level of who they become when they become that new level, should they then be choosing to constantly be learning about themselves, right? To getting to that deeper layer within. Did I say that? Like, does that resonate? Does that make sense? And yes, self-care is your empowerment, right? Adventure. Relationships are an adventure. They're not hard. We, as funny little fucked up humans, we make them hard because we make meanings out of stuff, and then we take things personally, and then we play right-wrong games, and then we get our ego because of our past wounds and abandonment and all of these things. It's people. It's our alchemical process that shifts a relationship. The relationship in and of itself is fine. But that alchemical process of your relationship within, that's what's going to determine like whether it's oil and water with whoever you are. Doesn't matter how many different partners, right? It's going to show up. That same dynamic is going to show up with any partner that you're with if you don't take care of that oil and water kind of, or oil and vinegar sort of energy within, right? Yeah. And we got to stop saying that relationships are work. Like, there's such a weird negative energy, even around the conscious language of the word work, right? They're not. They're either fun or not fun. You're either having fun or somebody killed the fun. Somebody killed the fun. You either got to find the fun again or realize that like it killed the fun. No more fun there for whatever reason. There could be a lot of different reasons why somebody kills the fun. Ego usually plays a big part of that. Okay, for business, Wednesday. Did that resonate for you guys on the personal? Yes, okay, cool. So for business, discipline. Ooh, I don't know if you guys can see that. I know they're white. Okay. Somebody asked me too, they're like, why do you wear black? I love wearing white, right? That's a big part of my brand color. And the really deep spiritual reason as to why I chose to wear black, frankly, is because all of the letters on Instagram are white and I can't see what you guys say if I'm wearing a white t-shirt. That's the really deep reason. Okay, just like this. You can't see it. Okay. Okay, discipline in business, Wednesday. A gallant act, a sacrifice with benefits. Interesting. A conscious, oh, hello, using that fun word, a conscious commitment to a noble course of action. Did I not just say something about what do you stand for and what your mission is, or what your movement is that you're wanting to create? Okay. A conscious commitment to a noble course of action. So all my conscious influencers out there, once we're wanting to either start a business, right? Start a brand, to create that movement, what your purpose is in the world, a gallant act, a sacrifice with benefits, and conscious commitment to a noble course of action. Okay, so the sacrifice with benefits, what I'm getting with this, like it's a noble act. It's what you're here, like I said, what you're standing for, what you're doing, what your higher purpose is, right? it's, it is sometimes so difficult to stay on course and stay committed because there's so many, like there's what I call a multi-creative, right? And you have so many different ideas and you want to do 1,000 different things, like all at once, right? And so it's not about sacrificing, not about giving something up, but it's about the discipline on creating like a map. I love mind maps. I love mind maps because the creative mind works more in mind mapping than it does in linear process. So looking at the full big picture of everything that it is that you're wanting to create. Some things it's not a sacrifice that you have to give up, but it's like you have to press pause. You have to like bookmark a few different things so that then you can bring this to fruition first and then the next thing to fruition after that, right? Does that make it this is all for business. So those of you who are doing business stuff, like we all want to do like 5 things all at once, right? Because I know there's a lot of you that are, like I said, multi-creatives, and you have a lot of ideas. Doesn't mean that you can't create an idea, or it doesn't mean that you can't create all of those ideas, right? Hence the reason why doing a personal brand is key for that and becoming a conscious influencer for that. But they got to come like one at a time. So create a mind map of what needs to happen, of what you want to do, but then create a mind map of what needs to happen first. And then have discipline in that. That goes with setting the calendar and bringing it into form. I love how these all like mirror each other. It's so awesome. Which your personal relationships and your business relationship like is a huge, like they tie in on everything. So, conscious commitment to doing it, a noble course of action, but it's staying committed with something, doing it, putting it on, like bringing it into form, putting it on the calendar, absolutely doing it, right? And staying committed to doing that. I don't know what you guys are talking about, blow love. Lingam love, what are you talking about? Okay, so discipline is absolutely huge because especially when you're in the mind state of like multi-creating all of these different things, it's hard to just move forward with one thing. So pick the one thing, start, and then do. And if that is in alignment with what your movement or mission is that you're wanting to do, that's what you do first. Also the one that feels like most fun, okay? So discipline. Put it on the calendar. You have to, sometimes for entrepreneurs, that's the hardest thing in the world is to maintain discipline, right? Just had deja vu, love that. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you better hurry it up, Sarah. Okay, so for Thursday, for the personal, be the hunter, not the hunted. I'm gonna move through these a little bit more quickly. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Set the intention of what you want. Set the vision of what you want. Don't wait for, like we still get caught up where we're like, okay, I'm just going to meditate and I'm going to wait for the universe to like bring me what I want, right? For women, initiating, it's like a little bit of like a tricky thing because if you're initiating is a masculine energy. So the more that you initiate, then when it comes to romantic partnerships and then like if you're the one initiating, then they can't initiate. So if you're in a committed relationship, then it might make them feel like it takes them out of the masculine position because you're running the more masculine position, right? If you're single and you then initiate, then you take away the sort of chase for them that is the masculine energy, right? And unconsciously, it puts them in the feminine because you're putting yourself in the masculine, right? Same thing then goes for guys. If you're not initiating, you're expecting a woman to, then you're unconsciously putting her in the masculine position, which puts you in the feminine position. And I doubt that that's where men really want to be. So doesn't mean that we can't find a sway in both, but point is, be the hunter, not the hunted. Set the vision, set the goal, set the intention for what you want. Oh my God, truth. Yes, 100. I love all your hundreds. 100%. So set the vision, set the goal of what you want, sort of create the energy that there's an opening for that opportunity, whatever that looks like, and then allow whatever to show up, show up. Because Yes, sometimes we can get carried away with saying like, oh, I'm just going to wait for the universe to bring it to me. But the universe doesn't hand you anything. One, it's you, universe. You are the one creating that. You're the one, like, what's it called? Oh my God, Sarah, I'm trying to move faster. Like you're the one sparking the match, right? The universe does not spark the match. It has to start with you. So technically, yes, you have to initiate, but you have to initiate based on setting the tone of what you want. You have to find out first what you want. Needed this. Great. You're welcome. So set the vision, goal, whatever that you want, and then allow it to show up for you, right? So that is the personal Tuesday, Wednesday for Thursday. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Yes, setting that intention. So it's kind of like saying be in the masculine a little bit, because that is the masculine, being the hunter. But it doesn't mean, for all my ladies, it doesn't mean go out there and like hunt a man down. That's not what that means. That is not what that means. Because like I said, then you put them in the masculine. However, you can, just like any hunter, right? Or prey, you gotta scope out what you want, right? You gotta be like a little stealth about it. You gotta like set the environment. Like you have to be a little more like laser sharp with things, right? So focus, laser sharp, and I love that it's the owl too, right? Because they have vision for days. They have the wise, but they also have like vision. They can see at night, and they can see very, very, very far away, right? So just like the hunter doesn't mean go out and hunt, but it does mean set the future, like the far off vision, and then setting that tone. You guys are laughing. Okay, so that makes sense. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for, geez, oh my God, am I gonna run out of time? If we do, it'll end on Instagram and I'll continue it on YouTube. So all of you guys know that the link for my YouTube channel is in my bio. Okay, your last day, revisit your past. Oh, this came up last time. So this is Thursday for business. Revisit your past, resolve your conflicts, notice the dreams still tugging at your heart before it's too late. This goes huge into what we were talking about, your movement, your purpose, whatever that creative energy is that you're wanting to do. It's follow the fun, follow the thing that is calling to you the most. That's what you start with. Everything else will follow in after that, right? But you have to resolve whatever past stuff has been happening in business, maybe some bad partnerships, business partnerships, we mean, maybe some fears of failure, fears of like like you not wanting to get started because you think that you need this, this, and this first, like whatever that is in your past, all of that has to go in order for you to step into the version that you need to be, and then even access the creative energy of what your bigger movement and mission would be. Okay, so resolve the conflicts, notice the dreams that are still tugging on your heart before it's too late. So that is Thursday. Friday. Did we not get this one last time on Friday? We got this one last week for sure. So there's still more storms coming, clearly, after all of it, but it's a cycle. Everything is a cycle. Big love to you too, baby. There's always going to be a storm. There's always going to be a hiccup. There's always going to be, anytime that you're wanting to get to something new, you have to release something old, right? So after the storm, after, like, sometimes things need to like get into chaos. It's like throwing all of the leaves up in the air and then letting them fall where they're meant to fall. It looks like chaos. It looks like a storm. It looks like a tornado. Also, feminine energy is very tornado-like. You need to let the storm happen. You need to get in touch with your inner feminine, man or woman. Get in touch with your inner storm. Let that tornado run wild, because that's part of what makes you absolutely badass and radiant and gorgeous goddess that you are. And for the men, that's what has you tap into listening into your feminine and your creative energy, right? And your empathicness. So everything, yes, I love that, is like a hurricane. And then after, there's always a calm that then you can see clearly. Again, I love that it's the owl, seeing clearly. being wise about your next moves in the relationships. Sometimes maybe you need to get out of a relationship right now and there's chaos happening, and you need to be okay with letting that chaos happen so that then it can release and let go, whether you choose to stay in a relationship or not. Maybe there's some chaos happening within you, all of those past programs or wounds or whatever. You need to let that chaos come up and show itself so you can love it and heal it even more deeply before then you dive in and see the future vision of what you're wanting to align to and connect to after the storm, right? But there is always, always an after the storm. And so that's another key factor of remembering with this card. There's always, no matter what you're going through right now, whatever chaos is happening right now, there is always an after the storm, which means the clouds part, the rainbow happens, sunshine comes out again, everybody's cool. So remember that whatever you're feeling and experiencing right now, there is always an after the storm that will bring you more clear wisdom and vision that you wouldn't have had if you didn't go through the storm, right? Green light go, okay. Friday, watch the wheels for business. Friday for business. Watch the wheels just as one crooked spoke. Oh, this is interesting. This one came up before too. Just as one crooked spoke on a wheel impedes a journey, one person can thwart and delay progress for your business. What is that like? What is that spoke in the wheel? Is that, do you need support with your fears and your belief systems and your maybe negative conversation that you're having about yourself? Like, are you the person that is getting in your own way of business? Because if there's no one in your business outside of you that this is resonating for, then that person might be you. Like, you might be getting in your own way. You're your own spoke, right? Mindset is key. Your emotional empowerment is even beyond mindset. Staying in alignment, you staying in emotional alignment is what's going to get you to where you want to go. But like, you can delay your own process all day long. If you're not in emotional alignment, you get out of, like, emotional alignment will create that sort of snowball effect going and creating and manifesting more of what you want. If you get out of emotional alignment, then it delays the process, because now you're directing the energy somewhere else where the universe, you, was bringing into alignment the things that matched your emotional alignment. And now you're over here doing something else. And it's like, wait, where did I just shot a missile to go directly to where your emotional alignment is. And then you just stepped out, right? So if it's not someone else in clearing your space of people, of other negative people or negative toxic energy, right? Or something happening that's not working. Maybe it's software. Maybe you need to upgrade your software. This can go for your own personal software as well as actual tangible software, right? Stop, drop, love that shit. Exactly. For business too. Maybe it's software, maybe it's another person, but maybe that person is also you, right? So are you your own spoke, or where is the spoke, the crooked spoke in the wheel that is delaying the process that you want to pay attention to on Friday? Oh my gosh, 2 minutes. We'll see how we do. Saturday for personal. I love this one. Follow your own rhythm. There's a lot on this that's that I'm getting that's about your own authenticity. It's all about your own authenticity. Like who you are, who you're being, your voice, following your own rhythm. Like you're dancing to your own beat of your own drum. You're making your own drum. I'm not a medium. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what a medium is, but I don't know what you guys are talking about. Okay, so following your own rhythm, following exactly what I feel like you're saying at the very, very beginning, like listening for your truth and then following suit with that and letting that energy and fluidity channel through you so that nothing else gets in the way of that, right? It's totally counting down. Instagram, I love you guys. Mwah. Yes, this will be on my IGTV, but for all of you guys, if you want to continue the last cards for personal and on business, then jump over to YouTube because it's going to end. And I'm going to end it right now. So jump over to YouTube. I love you, babes. Happy Self-Love Sunday. Okay. All right. So that's saving. So let's see. Everybody's jumping over here. So following your own rhythm. Hold the phone, babes. Getting in touch with like what that voice is for you, what that energy is for you, what that movement is for you. And not being afraid what anybody else is doing. Like, have you ever gone, when was the last time that you went out dancing? When was the last time that by yourself, right? Or let's say like girlfriends or whatever, but, and this could be whether you went out dancing. I'm not a big clubber anymore, right? Like it's all weird music and just too much alcohol in the space and all that stuff. So whether you went out dancing or whether you just like woke up in the morning and you decided to like dance around by yourself in your kitchen in your underwear making pancakes, whatever that is, when was the last time that you just like put on some music and let whatever energy come through you, like rise up and like move your body? The feeling of that is how you need to feel on Saturday. The feeling of like dancing, if you go out and you go dancing, like have you ever danced in the whole crowd but like by yourself and you just kind of like close your eyes and you're in your own space, like dancing on your own? It can be the most invigorating feeling in the world, just feeling all of that energy going through you. That's also moving stagnant energy. Sometimes we get stuck with a lot of emotional energy and it gets stuck in the belly. It gets stuck like in the heart. It can get stuck in the hips. It can get stuck wherever, man or woman, doesn't matter. It can get stuck in your body. So you're needing to actually, it's not just follow your own rhythm on your own path, but it's also like let the energy flow through your body and move out whatever energy is stagnant. Because that's what's going to like on your path to follow your own rhythm on your path. That's what's going to make the difference. Like being able to tap into your own flow and move with your own flow and move whatever stagnant energy and then following that rhythm and applying that same principle in your body, applying that to your self and then your relationships. Okay, my babes. Yeah, sorry, we had to end on Insta. Okay. Saturday for business. I feel like this whole video right now is so much about like your authentic self and showing up as your authentic self and then how you're bringing that authentic self out into the world. Romantic relationships and in business. And this just validates it even more. Become the maverick. 1, everybody go watch Top Gun. 2, become the maverick. Like a maverick is someone, it's a little bit of the rebel, right? That's why I love the Sacred Rebels. You have to be able to like step out of the box, exactly what I was talking about here, stepping out of the past ways of doing it, like finding your own unique way of doing it, being a little bit of the rebel, to have your own voice, your own movement of what you're wanting to create, move away from the norm and break the mold. I'm not even kidding. Like, I know it's backwards, but if you can read backwards, it literally says break the mold. That is the definition of cycle breaker, 100%. You have to have a little bit of rebel in order to do that, to break the past mold that has been working a little bit in the past, but now we're ready for like the next level in business, in our personal lives, in our romantic lives, but being that influencer with a purpose, not just about handbags and product. Like, what is it behind the products? If it is about products, what is it about, like what your message is, what you want to be able to offer the world, what impact you want to make in the world that might look a little bit different than how everybody else is doing it. Break the fucking mold. Love that. Challenge yourself to see the world differently. I love that. Challenge yourself to see the world differently. So that means whatever is showing up in your business that is having you question either yourself or what you should do, then put on a new pair of glasses. How can you look at the situation differently? How can you, I love that it says challenge yourself to see the world differently. Like we want to, if we're conditioned to fit into the mold of the way that it's been, right? We're conditioned to, because that's safe, that's known, that's proven practice, right? That's what guarantees results. And yet it's literally asking you to couple that, like don't totally throw that away, but couple that with then breaking the mold and doing something totally different. Whatever that is, because that's your unique genius. That's what you're meant to do, what you're meant to bring into the world that might be a little bit different than the norm of how it's been. And are you up for that adventure? Are you up for being that sort of influencer with that purpose? Conscious influencer. Move away from the norm, break the mold, challenge yourself to see the world differently. How would you like to see the world that it's not currently right now? And whatever you uniquely answer, how you would like to see the world, then that is directly in alignment with part of, I won't say all, but a big part of the message that then you're here to bring. And how you're going to end up bringing that out into the world is part of your unique genius. But whatever you answer, how would you like to see the world differently? You don't have to answer in the comments if you don't want to. If you want to, I'd love to hear. And whatever you answer, that's part of your deeper purpose. That's part of your mission. That's part of the movement that you are here to create and rally others around. Create your own hashtag. Make it happen. Part of what I'm going to be doing, well, that's what I'm going to be doing very soon. But when a lot of times what happens when we shift from sort of getting the tools right of self-love and personal development and all that stuff, and that helps with your romantic relationships because you're getting to the core of who you are being deep within, right? Then you discover that you have a deeper purpose. Then you discover that you might be one of the, not so many, but I feel like more becoming aware that there are more people becoming aware that they're wanting to make a greater impact in the world. And creating yourself as that unique branded identity, that influencer. Not the typical, I don't mean, like when I say conscious influencer, I literally mean like having a purpose behind that, right? Not just influencing for the sake of influencing because it's like a cool buzzword now. That has nothing to do with it. Like actually influencing for a purpose behind whatever your unique passion is. And that's the process of true transformation. That's one of the greatest things that I love supporting mostly women with right now, because the ladies are really kicking up their game with. And then they end up stepping into being that conscious influencer and wanting to create a greater impact in the world and creating that personal branded image of them. That's huge. And then you can create your own hashtag. Okay, so finally for personal, this is next Sunday. So much, wow, okay. Why is it I feel like this card, we end on this card so many times. So many times this card has been the final card. The perfection of your life. So this will technically be for next Sunday, the perfection of your life. Oh, thank you, Amy. I've definitely influenced you. You're welcome. So the perfection of your life. Like, I feel like I never really have to say that much about this one because so again, well, we were talking about perfect. You already are perfect. I'm removing all of those blocks from you accessing your perfection. Your relationships are already perfect. The connection, the center of your relationship is already perfect. It's already fine. That consciousness is already fine. There's nothing wrong in relationships themselves. If we isolate it to be like just looking at the relationship as a whole, there's nothing wrong with the relationship. Do you guys resonate with what I mean by that? It's how we're showing up to then interact within or to that consciousness. It's already perfect. Your relationship is already perfect. We've got to figure out and get the tools to shifting ourselves, man, woman, 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 doesn't matter, to have that greater self-love within, greater self-awareness, self-discovery, balance of masculine, feminine, spiral some amazing energy around you, get up into those higher consciousnesses of awareness and spirituality. When that happens, like, that's the highest perfect version of you. All the stuff in between, or all the stuff in the way, is stuff you've taken on. It's not even yours. So the perfection of your life, perfection of your, like, how you want your life to be, how you want your life to feel, most importantly, how you want your relationships to be, is directly proportionate to the level of perfection that you are within. And that means releasing and shifting those barriers that are in between you and your own perfection. Is that resonating? And I know there's a lot of like belief around like, oh, but nothing's perfect, right? And if we were to step outside of all of the terms and the judgments and whatever, if you don't want to use the word perfect, like, you're your highest ideal version of you. There's nothing wrong. There's just all the things in the way of you aligning to that. So if it feels like it's wrong, if it doesn't look like it's right? Or I said that backwards. If it feels wrong and if it looks wrong, then it means that you're looking at the forest. You can't see the forest through the trees. You're looking at all of the trees that you've taken on, or those belief systems, limiting belief systems, those past programs. Like, there's all of this stuff going on that you can't see the perfection of your life. You cannot see the forest through the trees. Other than that, it's clear. It's perfect. Your relationship with you is already perfect. You got some trees in the way, you can't even access the perfection. So those have to go. Your relationship is already perfect. If there's stuff that doesn't look or feel perfect or ideal, then it means you've got a bunch of trees, some disconnection, some values maybe got misaligned somewhere or chucked out or weren't understood in the first place, right? Or some desires are not being fulfilled. And now it's creating all of this tension and all these belief systems and the right-wrong game and all this chaos that is creating a whole forest that you can't then see the forest through the trees. So if it doesn't look perfect or feel perfect, it's because there's all that stuff in the way. Your relationship to you and your romantic relationships, all that stuff has to go. And there's tangible tools in order to do that. Reading books is not enough. You can gain some awareness, but that's still conscious work, right? That's still above the surface of the iceberg work. So if you feel like you're not quite there yet, it's because you haven't done the deep dive into the subconscious work. That's when literally everything gets cleared up like that, so fast. It is so absolutely simple, but we need actual practical tools in order to do that as well, right? Yes, makes sense. Okay, cool. Your life is and can be 100% perfect when we clear out the forest. Doesn't mean cut down the trees. You need to stop doing that. Just means find your way through the trees. You need a navigational system. You need tool. That's a tool. A navigational system is an actual tool to get you out of that forest, right? Okay. That's what true self-investment is about. That's what true self-investment really, really is about. Otherwise, it's still going to feel and look like you don't want it to, and that is a breeding ground for unhappiness. The only reason why we have unhappiness is because we're looking outside and saying, my life doesn't look the way that I want, or my relationships don't feel the way that I want them to, or they don't look the way that I want them to. Or I don't feel about myself the way that I think that I should or that I want to. And that's all because there's trees in the way. Okay, finally. Oh, we're going to end on the 33. I love it. Perfect. My number, what's up? 333. So Sunday for business, embracing empathy. Hi from Italy. Oh, love that. Okay, embracing empathy. You feel, therefore I am. I feel, therefore you are. Encompass empathy, embrace compassion. Have I not said so many times before? And I'll keep saying it. Mindset is one tiny, tiny, tiny factor for your business, and this still applies for your personal as well. The key is how you feel. The foundational key is how you feel. Your emotional alignment, how you feel within, setting the tone of the emotions that you want. And most importantly, because empathy is emotion. We don't mean just empaths, right? Or empathetic, right? Being empathetic is very different, a little bit different than being an empath. So for all my empaths, but empathy is what will help shift our cultural conscious awareness. Empathy, the siren agrees. I think that's a really solid validation. So empathy is what will shift our own conscious awareness. Empathy is what will shift our cultural conscious awareness. It's key. It's foundational because it's based on how we feel. And this even says then embrace empathy, embrace compassion. You cannot shift anything in your business. You can't shift anything in your personal without empathy. I feel like we're shifting out of this sort of like narcissistic energy movement, right? Because narcissists inherently, they don't have empathy. You can redevelop it. It's a whole different process, right? So getting in touch with empathy, because we are also shutting down our emotions in our relationships, and especially in business, because fear comes up and then you don't want to feel the fear because there's so much fear around, oh, what steps should I take? And what should you do? And how should you do it? And am I going to fail? Right. And all of those conversations, you don't want to feel that. So then you shut down that emotion. But then if you're shutting down that emotion, then you inherently, you tell yourself unconsciously that then you shut down the emotions to all of the positive ones, which means empathy as well. So it means getting in touch with more emotional mastery on Sunday for your business and tapping into empathy for yourself and for the movement that you're creating. Being like the empathy side is also connects with your most authentic version. We're talking this whole thing in personal and in business. It's all been about your most authentic self. If you're not experiencing empathy, then you're not in alignment with your most authentic self. You can't be. You're like blinding yourself to how you feel, or you're trying to like control the way that you feel. Is that resonating? Is that making sense? Yes, it all ties in. I love you guys. I love all the chats you're having. Okay, so embracing empathy in business on Sunday. I feel like this goes really well with the romantic side as well. Of course, they've all been matching each other. So technically the perfection of your life doesn't happen without empathy either, right? That was Sunday on the personal. This is Sunday on the business. You feel, therefore you are. You, like the whole I am doesn't happen through mindset. Like an I am is an experience, right? You guys know what I mean. Like the stating I am is one of the most powerful statements, but it's not an I am mentally. It's an I am emotionally. If it's not attached to the emotion, then it's like you're blinding yourself. So yes, I said put blindfolds on so you can look within and experience empathy, but then like you got to take the blindfolds off from actually like what you're feeling. We cannot, like sometimes we want to lie to ourselves, right? Sometimes we want to lie so that we won't feel those feelings that is really going to help us get to the next level. Is that resonating? And I love that it says, you feel, therefore I am, and I feel, therefore you are. That's relationships. Of course, business ties in with relationships 100%. Yes. Okay. So that completes the full week of personal, whether that's your relationship with you or your romantic relationships, and then business for the conscious influencer, conscious spiritual entrepreneur. I love all of you guys. We went over a little bit, so obviously the other one will be on my Instagram or IGTV, as well as it'll stay up here as well. But I love all of you guys for tuning in every Sunday for Self-Love Sunday, where we do the cards. And then on Tuesday for Soul Circle at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am Sarah Delane, the Conscious Lifestylist. I love you guys all so much. Remember that we are all in this together. And remember that the name of the game is that there's not one petal to a rose. So there is always a deeper level to experience within yourself. And as you do that, then the rest of your life and your relationships, you have deeper and greater experiences with as well. And when we get to that level, then that's where we become the conscious creators of our reality and our relationships. And sometimes it takes the tools to actually access the perfection of your life. Love you guys all so much. Another great live. You're welcome. I appreciate you all, and I will see you. Excuse me. I will not see you on Tuesday. This Tuesday, I am speaking at Soulciety. So if you're in Los Angeles, please come to that. I posted on my story the link to that. It's a free event. I'm going to be doing my Higher Heart Mind manifest, or Higher Heart Mind coherence visualization that really supports in helping you anchor or connect to your higher version of yourself and bring all of that conscious energy in to manifest whatever your desires are. If I can live stream it, I may. We'll see, because I think I speak at 7:20. So if you're in LA, I definitely want to see you there. I would love, love, love to meet you. And if not, then I will see if I can set up something to stream live. I love you all so much. Have an amazing rest of your weekend or Monday, depending on wherever you are in the world. Bye, loves. See you later.